Although it's not my cup of tea philosophically, and I largely disagree with most of their politics and their views, I do subscribe to the monthly hard copy edition of The Atlantic magazine. I find the writing fascinating, relevant, very powerful, very intellectual, and again, I don't agree with most of their conclusions, but I enjoy the magazine. And this month's issue is very, very telling, and I've never seen quite a cover story like this, or a cover like this. Usually the articles are very broad, talking about a slice of Americana or the world, but they usually don't focus on one specific segment of the population. There was a very, very famous, now famous article written a few years ago called The Case for Reparations, which took up, must have been 10-15 pages, arguing for the case for the United States to actually pay reparations to African Americans for what happened at the beginning of the founding of the country. That was an exception. And this month we have an incredible cover. It's right there. It's "The Golden Age of American Jews is Ending." Declarative, it's not even a question. And it's written by the famous Jewish intellectual Franklin Foer, and it's a very, very long article. There's a lot of Yiddish and a lot of searching for the answers. The article is quite astounding, but the lesson is very obvious. If the Atlantic, one of the bastions of liberal thought in the United States, can put such an article by a leading intellectual asking this question, then I think we have to ask that question as well. Everyone in the West, every Jew in the West has to really start perhaps asking themselves, since October 7th, battle lines have been drawn very, very severely and very clearly. And we know now, if we didn't know before, who's on our side and, frankly, who's against us. And the numbers don't look so good. The past few weeks have been an extreme intensification of attacks in the public, in the press, berating, worse than that, the state of Israel. And at the core of it is this underlying anti-Semitism. I think we can agree on this. I'm not sure if this is such a shocking point. But this was shocking. And it shows perhaps a great transition and a shift in thinking in the regular Western Jewish liberal mind. The answer that he doesn't really say here is, of course, it's time to go home. It's time to focus on the land of Israel, to appreciate the land of Israel. If you can't move there, and there's plenty of valid reasons why not, then at least make it a part of your consciousness. Minimally pray for the Jews who inhabit our holy land. Pray for the success of Israel. When we say in our prayers, when we pray for the peace of Jerusalem and that we should return to Jerusalem, let's have it in mind. Let's really make it a part of our consciousness. There's many more things to do besides simply wiring money and donating online to all the amazing charities that are doing that unbelievable work in Israel. But at least make it a part of our very conscious. That this is ultimately where we need to be, where we belong, and where we are now, as beautiful as it is and as comfortable as it may seem, it's transient. It's not where we ultimately belong. Am Yisrael Chai and L'Shana Haba'a B'Yerushalayim, as we're going to say very soon at the Passover Seders next year in Jerusalem. Amen, amen. Shabbat Shalom.